Good afternoon. Today we'll delve into the realm of contemporary leadership, focusing on how different leaders exemplify and blend various leadership styles. Our primary focus will be on Daniel Coyle, a prominent figure in outdoor education whom I have been working for about the past 2 years. And we'll compare his leadership approach with that of Richard Branson, who we'll meet later. Let's start by exploring Daniel Coyle's background and leadership approach. Daniel Coyle is the founder and owner of Coyle Outside and the Coyle Outside Foundation, which he established in 2011. His organization operates in several states, including Maryland, Colorado, Washington, and Oregon, and he focuses on outdoor education with an emphasis on youth education. Coyle's background is quite extensive. He has served as a guide, program developer, and staff trainer. He has spent a decade as a school director and administrator in the wilderness therapy industry. His experience includes leading multi-week wilderness expeditions and instructing activities such as climbing, mountain biking, and whitewater rafting. Academically, he graduated from Cornell University in 1994 with a focus on evolution and genetics. Beyond his professional achievements, Daniel Coyle is actively involved in mentoring youth and contributing to local trail building projects in Corvallis, Oregon. His leadership style primarily embodies transformational leadership, focusing on inspiring and empowering his team, fostering growth, and driving innovation in outdoor education. Daniel Coyle's leadership approach is a blend of transformational and servant leadership theories. As a transformational leader, Coyle inspires and motivates his team with a clear vision and strategic direction. His ability to translate the organization's goals into reality fosters a strong sense of purpose and drives collective success. Simultaneously, Coyle embodies servant leadership by prioritizing the well-being and development of his team. He demonstrates exceptional support when team members ask for it. This ensures that his team feels valued and they have opportunities to grow. His extensive experience in wilderness therapy and youth mentorship underscores his commitment to empowering others. This effective integration of both leadership styles creates a dynamic and supportive environment for his team. So, discussing Daniel Coyle's greatest career achievement, he spoke of during the late 2000s, there was a financial crisis, of which the company he worked for was in a vulnerable position because they were already losing money. The company was on the brink of failure, but Dan Coyle managed to not only turn around the company, but to turn it around during this financial crisis. Through strategic restructuring, such as implementing employee pay cuts and reworking the company's financials, Coyle stabilized the company and eventually returned it to profitability. Notably, he repaid employees who stayed through the crisis with bonuses, compensating them for their sacrificed wages. This move not only salvaged the company, but it also reinforced employee loyalty and morale. This achievement reflects Dan Coyle's strong transformational and servant leadership qualities. He inspired and guided his team through a challenging period, showing empathy, support, and ethical leadership. His ability to balance financial acumen with a deep commitment to his employees was crucial in navigating the company through the crisis and ensuring long-term success. So here we have a breakdown of his skills during this time. Dan Coyle scored high in awareness, persuasion, stewardship, and interest in building a community. He moderately had skills in listening, conceptualization, foresight, and commitment to the growth of people, with lower scores in empathy and healing. So this all makes a lot of sense. He is an effective problem solver. He puts stake in doing rather than kind of waiting. So his lower scores in empathy and healing, he describes healing as something that is maybe not necessary to every day and is something that you can pursue later on, but in the moment when it's time to grind and focus, then it's time to buckle in and focus. As far as a significant challenge goes, something that Dan Coyle faces with his company Coyle Outside are the varying political ideologies of stakeholders in regions where he operates his outdoor education programs. Dan Coyle spans work from urban areas to rural communities across several states. Primarily in Oregon, he does something called Outdoor School. Oregon sponsors elementary and middle schools to bring their kids to a 3-day program where they learn about the outdoors and outdoor activities like bushcraft, fire starting, sometimes dissecting starfish. So something that I did in my own outdoor school experience. So Dan Coyle is contracted by these schools to have a team of instructors to teach these kids. And we do this all over the state of Oregon. So we can be somewhere in rural Klamath Falls, we can be somewhere in urban Lake Oswego. So there's just a really wide variety of people that Dan Coyle and his team are interacting with. And his primary goal is to teach children about the outdoors and inspire them. However, there are some roadblocks when some adults can use the children's experiences to further their personal or political agendas rather than focusing on the best interests of the students. To address this challenge, Dan Coyle remains dedicated to his core mission by emphasizing the educational value of outdoor learning. He builds strong relationships with school districts and local communities to gain their support and trust. By navigating the political dynamics and engaging with stakeholders to address their concerns, he ensures that the integrity of his program is preserved. Additionally, Dan Coyle advocates for the benefits of outdoor education through clear communication, refocusing discussions on the positive impact on student development rather than personal or political motivations. Looking deeper at how his skills translate into his problem-solving capabilities for this challenge, Dan scored high on listening and awareness, persuasion, foresight, and stewardship, with low scores on empathy, healing, conceptualization, commitment to people, and a medium score on interest in building community. These ratings reflect that Dan Coyle is an effective problem solver and great at aligning stakeholders, and he has great strategic thinking, but there are times where he could potentially enhance his emotional support. It could have an impact, but he gets things done, and his team seems to really respect him for it. So for power types and its impact, Daniel Coyle effectively utilizes two types of power: expert power and referent power. Expert power stems from his extensive knowledge and experience in outdoor education and wilderness therapy. His expertise establishes credibility and allows him to advocate effectively for his programs, countering objections from stakeholders with differing agendas. His referent power comes from building strong, positive relationships with key stakeholders, including school administrators and local community members. His commitment to the mission and his personable approach to foster trust and goodwill with others makes it easier for him to navigate political challenges. The impact of Dan Coyle's behavior is significant. His expert knowledge reassures stakeholders of the program's educational benefits, while his strong relationships and personal connections help maintain support and ensure that discussions focus on positive outcomes for students rather than on political or personal motivations. Alright, so next up we're going to compare leadership styles between Dan Coyle and Richard Branson from our syllabus. Starting with Dan Coyle, Dan Coyle's vision is focused on practical impacts and navigating complex environments, reflecting on a hands-on and adaptive leadership style. In addition, he serves his team needs and ensures their development while maintaining and managing outdoor education programs with a lot of variation. We have a lot of different staff working in different places. Some places need to be scouted, so managing all of this is something that he has a high internal locus of control for. Coyle also combines transformational inspiration with servant leadership, emphasizing his practical problem solving and how he supports his team. For strengths and weaknesses, Daniel's strengths are that he's action-oriented, he's decisive and effective with his responses to challenges. This helps him manage his programs and achieve his goals. He is very financially savvy. His strong understanding of financial management and strategic restructuring was key for the company he turned around, and is key to this day for the company he's running. And he has a very strong internal locus of control. He has a belief in his ability to influence outcomes, and that's evident in his proactive problem solving and his leadership approaches. For weaknesses, he has low emotional sensitivity. He routinely scored low in empathy and healing, suggesting that he has a hard time addressing emotional needs. This could impact team morale and cohesion. And in addition, he could have high stress. So his high action orientation and his strategic focus may contribute to high levels of stress, which could affect his overall well-being and effectiveness as a leader. These strengths and weaknesses highlight Dan Coyle's effectiveness in achieving practical results and leading through challenges, while also indicating areas where emotional support and stress management could be improved. Comparing to Richard Branson, Richard's leadership style is a prominent example of transformational leadership as well. Branson is known for his visionary approach, which includes inspiring and empowering his employees through bold and innovative ventures. He has strengths in charisma and inspiration. Branson has a dynamic personality, and he has visionary type of ideas. Those ideas energize his team and inspire a high level of performance. He also has a strength in empowerment and autonomy. He provides significant freedom and support for innovation, fostering a positive and autonomous organizational culture. And that positive organizational culture is something that leads to creativity, engagement, and high morale with his people. Some weaknesses he has are risk-taking. He has no problem taking risk, and those high-risk ventures occasionally face significant challenges which can impact the stability of the organization. He also might over-rely on charisma. He is very charming, and it is effective. There's a risk of over-reliance on that personal charisma, which could overshadow other essential leadership qualities. Right, so comparing our two leadership styles, vision and inspiration. We have Branson's approach, high risk, high reward. Coyle's vision is more focused on practical and achievable goals within the context of his company. Empowerment and team focus. Branson's empowerment is driven by broad inspirational goals, while Dan Coyle's approach is grounded and is in supporting and developing his team through hands-on leadership and trainings. For risk-taking, Branson embraces high-risk, high-reward, innovative ventures, while Dan Coyle's is more calculated and aligned with immediate practical needs. In my interview with Dan Coyle, he said that he has a low tolerance for ambiguity, but a high tolerance for chaos. So he's willing to have some chaos as long as it can go somewhere and it's not ambiguous. In essence, Brandon's leadership is marked by a grand vision and transformative impact, whereas Dan Coyle's leadership is defined by practical problem solving and strong commitment to team development. So kind of circling around to organizational mission, vision, and entrepreneurial mindset in the context of leadership. So for our mission defines the core purpose and immediate goals of an organization. For both Dan Coyle and Richard Branson, their missions drive their leadership strategy and organizational focus. For strategy, the plan for achieving the mission and vision is what your strategy would include. Coyle's strategy involves practical outdoor education programs, while Branson's strategy includes innovative business ventures. Moving on to vision. The long-term goals and aspirations guiding the organization's direction is what the vision includes. Dan Coyle's vision is to enhance youth education through outdoor experiences, whereas Branson's vision focuses on pioneering new business frontiers. And finally, for entrepreneurial contribution, leaders tend to drive innovation and adapt their strategies to align with their mission and vision. For Dan Coyle, he integrates entrepreneurial thinking into his educational programs, and Richard Branson's entrepreneurial mindset is what fuels his groundbreaking business ventures. So they both utilize entrepreneurial methods in their businesses. Both leaders demonstrate how aligning their mission, vision, and strategy with an entrepreneurial mindset can drive significant organizational impact. Kind of using everything we've learned, here are some key leadership behaviors to consider. Proactive problem solving. Both Dan Coyle and Richard Branson exemplify proactive approaches to addressing challenges and seizing opportunities. Fostering open communication. Effective leaders build trust and alignment through open and transparent communication with their teams. This is important for keeping teams happy and healthy, and for being able to make sure you're getting everything out of the energy your team is putting in. If you don't have thorough communication of expectations, then there's just going to be a mismatch in results. And finally, avoiding micromanagement. Empowering team members to take initiative, be autonomous, and make decisions fosters innovation, creativity, and it increases morale. I think both Richard Branson and Daniel Coyle do a great job at fostering autonomy within their businesses, and it leads to just really creative ventures and diverse programs. So these behaviors are what I would consider crucial for effective leadership and achieving organizational goals, whether in the context of outdoor education or innovative business ventures. So in conclusion, I selected Daniel Coyle and Richard Branson for comparison due to their distinct yet impactful leadership styles. Coyle's practical, servant-oriented approach in outdoor education provides a grounded contrast to Branson's visionary and high-risk leadership in business. The purpose of this interview, by comparing these two leaders, we gain insights into how different leadership styles address challenges, inspire teams, and drive organizational success. Coyle's experience in navigating complex educational environments and Branson's track record of pioneering innovative ventures in various different companies offer valuable lessons in effective leadership. They both offer unique perspectives on leadership. Dan Coyle combines transformational and servant leadership with a focus on practical problem solving and team support. His strengths include action orientation, financial acumen, and effective stakeholder alignment. Areas for improvement for him could include empathy and emotional support. In comparison, Richard Branson exemplifies transformational leadership with a visionary approach and strong empowerment of his team. His strengths include charisma, innovation, and a positive organizational culture, while challenges include high-risk ventures and maybe over-reliance on personal charm. Both leaders demonstrate how different leadership styles can effectively address various organizational needs and drive success. Their approaches highlight the importance of aligning leadership strategies with organizational goals and challenges. And both leaders are doing a great job at guiding their companies to success. These should be my references. And I wanted to thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. And I hope you enjoy some nature.